Hello everybody and welcome into the PGR eSports Intimidator Superspeedway Series, live tonight from Irish Hills, Michigan at Michigan International Speedway for what is sure to be a great special event to round out quarter number 2. And as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. You're watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Well, you heard me just talk about it. The big story tonight, we're not at Talladega. We're not at Daytona. Instead, we are at the 2-mile D-shaped oval known as Michigan International Speedway. We'll get to more on that in just a moment, but before we do, qualifying is complete. Drivers are getting gridded up. That means it's time to get right down trackside and get into tonight's starting grid. Starting in the first position here tonight in the number 39 machine, it'll be Daniel Falkingham. And alongside him, the outside pole is going to be another one of your world-class drivers, at least in terms of licensing. And that is 9,800 I-rating Logan Clampett making, I don't think this is his first PGR start. Definitely one of the rare occurrences. We'll see him probably up front quite a bit tonight. John Ellis Jr., he'll start in the 3rd spot here tonight. To his outside, another one of your Coke Series drivers, Malik Ray, starts in that 4th position. Dylan Basin will be back in 5th. It'll be Nick Seipel to his outside in 6th. Back in row number 4, it's DJ Thomas in the number 19 truck alongside Jeff Merck in the number 60. Asher Little will start in 9th, and it's Miles Bagley rounding out the top 10. Moving on back to row number 6 here tonight for Nightmare Esports, starting in the 11th position. It will be Chase Mastretta, and just to his outside in 12th, one of the PGR drivers, that's Nash Brambilla. Trevor Osnoth and Axel Smith back in row number 7 with Kenny Reel and Joshua McCullough in row number 8. Dawson Wise, one of our fellow broadcasters, starts in 17th here tonight. Jared Haynes for the Jack Shack will start to his outside in 18th. Brock Westmoreland in 19th, and it's Landon Velicki, another one of our fellow PGR broadcasters, rounding out your top 20. Steve Sizemore, Quentin Steinbach back in row number 11. It'll be Kyle Loiver alongside Michael Wingo in row number 12. Back in row 13, Dylan Grace alongside Chris Walker. Michael Triscaro, series owner, alongside Chris Melton in row 14. It'll be Christopher McCullough and Tyler Vickery rounding out the top 30. Ken McCullough Jr. and Brennan Broadfoot back in row 16 with Mark Vondell 33rd, James Wagner 34th, and John Ward rounding out your 35 truck field here tonight. All right, we're at Michigan International Speedway, a 2-mile D-shaped oval with 18 degrees of banking in the corner. And so we'll go 70 laps here tonight. These drivers do have 80% fuel in the tanks, 2 sets of tires if you were to need them, no fast repair, fixed setups as always, and a 129-degree track temp to make this a lot of slipping and sliding. And here we go. The final special event of the quarter is underway. We are racing at Michigan. So far, so good as they rock it off at turn number 2 for the first time. 3, almost 4 wide, way out back. That's where we're going to turn our attention first. That's Trevor Osnoth trying to make a move on the inside of the 8, Chase Mastretta. You can see right now everybody's got a ton of grip on fresh tires. And I mentioned only 18 degrees of banking here, but it's a very, very large radius turn. So these guys are still just about wide open through the first couple laps of these runs. Logan Clampett, though, quick out to the lead. Doesn't take him long to try to get the front 5 single filed up as they work down into turn 1. And again, the front 5 going to work together here as if it was a super speedway. Get in line and ride for now. They'll see if they can create some distance on everybody else. Still 2 by 2, right around where the 8 of Mastretta runs. John Ellis Jr., he's looking for a spot, just a few positions behind him. Looked like that might have been Miles Bagley, who was trying to duck out of line to see if he could take a position. No, actually, that's the 11. That's Kenny Reel for the Jack Shack. Just under his teammate Jared Haynes right there, trying to work with Osnoth to see if he can get that inside going to the front. And Haynes going to try to sneak down in front of Dawson Wise. Man, that was really, really close. Dawson had to burp the throttle there and actually duck a lane lower to keep from making any contact. That is the driver out of Knoxville, Tennessee, trying to make something happen here. Again, that bottom of the racetrack is so tough to hold, and when the tires wear out, it gets even more difficult. You'll see a lot of drivers going to the top if they're trying to play defense. But it's one of those tracks where at the same time, when it's this hot out, you see so many different grooves of racing that you can really go anywhere you want as long as you have kind of the control to make that line work. Now, as we go back to the front, we'll give you the gearbox view here of Logan Clampett. That's Daniel Falkingham in second. Make it 3 Coke Series drivers in a row with Malik Ray running just behind him. currently, again, drafting at the front of the field. John Ellis Jr. staying tucked in line. And you see these guys all running the exact same line as they do stay single file. And what they're doing here, not only drafting, but these tires, it'll take a while, but eventually they will start to wear out. And when they do, I think that's when you're going to start to see some of the drivers that are good at tire saving start to get that edge and get that advantage, if you will. You heard me mention Miles Bagley earlier. He's actually in a bit of a different paint scheme here tonight. He's got the black and red 87. He's got himself already up a position from where he started this race at. Asher Little currently the last man inside the top 10. And then as we turn our attention now a little bit further towards the back of the field, you see kind of the back of this front group, if you will, right now being rounded out by the 8 of Steve Sizemore, who's got a pretty good run going so far. And then it separates all the way back to Chris Melton, who's up 6 positions from where he started this race at. And that is one of your Roughneck Racing drivers, Tyler Vickery, behind him in 23rd. He's up 7 from where he started. Broadfoot has gained 8. He's in 24th. And you see Michael Wingo back here with Kyle Lawver, Joshua McCullough, Chris Walker, Dylan Grace, and all these trucks that are currently making up this second pack. And if we show you the track map, overall everybody's still on the same straightaway. Again, this track is only half a mile shorter than, say, a Daytona or a Talladega, but I don't know if lap traffic will be too much of a factor, but still something to maybe consider here at Michigan. So up front, still leading the way, it is all Logan Clampett at the moment. Falkingham and Malik continue to ride in line and bide their time. And by the way, talking about what tires look like, I see in the chat Christian Martinez says, do you know tires and payouts? Great question, Christian. And the answer is for tires, these guys have 2 sets tonight, and it is 80% fuel. I tried to mention that in the race info, but I know we got rushed on that. So in case I didn't get the chance to mention it, let's make sure we get that cleared up now. 2 sets of tires for these guys here tonight. And again, it will be 80% fuel at this track. And again, this is going to be a pretty rough estimate. I would think 100% fuel at this track would probably be somewhere right around 30, I would say between 32 and 40-ish laps of fuel on 100%. So we're going to probably say these guys are going to be closer to 30-ish laps of fuel. Will take, give or take 5 laps from that window. And with only 2 sets of tires, if we get to a green flag run, obviously, or a green flag pit stop, I should say, obviously you're going to take one of those sets right there. And then is, trouble back here on the front stretch. Steinbach goes around. Sizemore does as well. No caution yet. We stay green here. First incident of the night. And there's the caution as the 8 of Sizemore was finally able to get it pointed in the right direction. Just 8 of 70 laps in. You almost thought if we were going to have a caution, it was going to be on that initial restart. But a lot of these guys still running pretty close to each other. And there is some right front damage here for the 8 of Steve Sizemore. So he either got into the outside wall coming off of 4, or that was contact with another truck. We'll go back now and see what the answer to that question was. This was when the yellow was out, but the incident itself, and we had a couple of incidents here. So first, go back and show you what happened here to Nash Brambilla and a few others. This is a couple guys getting a little bit tight off the corner, and that's what leads to the caution. As you see Nash here, he had been running in the top lane. Well, no, I take that back, actually. He enters on the bottom, gets really, really tight. Let's watch it here from the chopper view first. You see Dawson behind him. Ooh, is he coming in the corner a little bit sideways? If he is, you might wonder if that's part of it. So you see Nash trying to arc it down. Does look like that truck's getting a little bit loose on him. You see the back end kind of swaying, but it seems like it kind of stabilizes out right here. But then I don't know if that's a slight correction or, again, if he just gets wicked tight. But whatever the deal is, look how quickly this truck shoots all the way up the track, almost like a second correction there. And just running out of real estate quickly here. He gets up into the outside safer barrier. And you see Dawson Wise, he dives low. Jared Haynes tries to do the same. But Steve Sizemore just too quick. Already kind of was committed to that outside line. And unfortunately couldn't really find anywhere to dodge. And it looks like additionally there, it was Quentin Steinbach, the other truck that got involved. So it'll go down officially as a 3-truck incident to bring out the caution. Let's go first here now to the onboard view of Steve Sizemore, show you what he saw here and how quickly things unfold. And actually, before we go to his onboard view, let's go to the onboard view here for Nash Brambilla. And there's that first catch, and you're going to see the second catch here. This is a really odd look to get this loose on entry to the corner. Right there, watch. You see him trying to catch it? Boom. There's the first one. Boom, there's the second. And unfortunately on that second one, it just chased him too far up the track, and down she goes. So for the most part, this was just a big slide through the grass for these drivers. A couple of them, though, again, including both Nash. I think Quentin Steinbach actually maybe gets the biggest hit of this. There's Sizemore. That's actually a pretty big shot right there. The right front of his truck, nowhere to go. And then you see Quentin Steinbach trying to dive to the inside, but they come right in front of him, and he T-bones Sizemore. You actually see that truck lift up there just for a brief moment for Sizemore. Quickly able to set back down, and then it's just a long slide through the grass. The caution doesn't come out until about right here. Again, props to Sizemore for making sure that he let that truck roll down the track and into the grass to get it out of harm's way. So tip of the hat there as we give you one or two more angles of this one. Watch Sizemore here as he gets down. Boom. Big hit. And this is what it looked like here from our TV3 view up in the booth as they come off the corner. And this is why, to me, this is so interesting for Nash, because you saw he was right in the wake of the trucks in front. Usually, and I think that was Heath Job in front of him, and usually when that's the case, you get tight, not loose, but you wonder if he maybe just took a little bit too aggressive of an angle into the corner, and the back end was never really set. Definitely something that he'll learn about. Again, a lot of racing to go. These guys don't have a fast spare, but I don't necessarily think that any of the damage on these trucks is race ending. You see for Sizemore there, he didn't really get much of it fixed, at least not aero-wise. May have gotten any suspension damage fixed. Nash looks to be cleaned up pretty well, and for Quentin Steinbach, looks to also have the front nose of his Toyota Tundra cleaned up pretty well. So these guys will catch the back of the pack and get ready to get back to green flag racing. Lights are off on the pace car, so we will be going back green this time, and up front, it is the 44 College Series driver and a world-class driver, former Coke driver. I'm not sure if Clampett's in the Coke Series now or not, so don't hold me accountable to that. I don't get to keep up with these guys as much as I used to, but see the big college banner on the front as Clampett continues to lead the way. He's led them all so far. Malik Ray second in that beautiful number 1 green, black, and white sim seats. James Wagner's welding machine just behind him. Dylan Basin in the 11 with the Team Conti truck moving his way through the field. He's up 2 from where he started. Always a very competitive driver at both super speedway and non-super speedways. And you've got Falkingham in 4th, John Ellis Jr. and Jeff Merck rounding out row 3. It'll be Oswernoth back in 7th in the 89 machine, DJ Thomas 8th, Kenny Reel in 9th, and Asher Little rounding out your top 10. All right, let's try it again. 11 to 70 laps complete. These guys are refueled and ready to go as we now see the green flag back in the air as Clampett accelerates towards the end of the Geico restart zone. By the way, good chance that I do want to mention that all these guys that went into pits, I wonder if they took 4 tires or not. We may check in on that here if we get some time, but I know everybody did go in for fuel at the very minimum. And up front, you can see that quick single filing from the front 2 to 3, but actually Ellis and Malik here, they'll stay side by side down the back stretch. John Ellis Jr. with no drafting help. He's going to fade back a few spots and jump in line behind the 11 of Dylan Basin. And further back, a lot of guys still fighting for track position, but everybody diving to the inside through about the first 15 to 20 trucks. And then they start to fan out, trying to use the top lane, the bottom, the middle. Anywhere there's room, you can fan them out 3, 4, even 5 wide here at Michigan down this front stretch. Don't forget, no out of bounds here either, so you are free to go below the apron, both the front straightaway, the back straightaway, even in the corners. That certainly wouldn't seem like a good idea there. How about Jeff Merck? Another one of the drivers who we talk a lot about on super speedways, but if somebody asked me to name a guy who I think would easily be a top 5 runner anytime we go to non-super speedways, Merck would probably be one of them. The driver out of Punta Gorda, Florida, very competitive here in the early going, as DJ Thomas will now try to challenge him to the inside for that 6th position. Oswernoth still back to the 9th spot. Kenny Reel in at 10th. The Jack Shack has been strong here early, trying to continue to make some ground towards the front, as that's the 88 machine right there. As that's actually Axel Smith. I thought that was Heath Job earlier. No, that is another 88. Axel Smith. There's Dawson Wise on the outside, looking for a big side draft. That's going to get tight. Ooh, man. I think it works out because these guys are on fresh tires. Brock Westmoreland, another big moment as he got really loose and almost slid out of shape off of turn 2. Oh, my goodness. And by the way, going towards the back of the field here, not sure what happened to John Ward at the start, but clearly big issues for the 92 as Steve Sizemore at the moment, currently sitting 33rd, has lost touch with the pack after sustaining damage in that first incident. And let me finish on the point that we were making just before we had that caution while I had the opportunity. Again, 2 sets of tires here tonight. And so with that in mind, I know we were looking at a lot of replays, but I do want to go back and show you here just quickly what the pit stop looked like here. Again, a lot of trucks came in, and what we're going to do is speed this up here. The only thing I'm really curious about seeing here is if these guys took 4 tires, 2 tires, or no tires during this pit stop. So here's Clamp It, and watch these guys get in the box. You'll know by the speed here to see just how quickly they take. Okay, so that's fuel only. That's exactly what that is, and that's not too surprising, and I'll tell you why here in just a moment. But again, watch. These guys get in the box, and this is at regular speed. They're only in here for about 5 seconds. You don't see the right or left sides go up on any of these lead trucks. So fuel was the call as they jump back out. So no tires, at least not in the front 10 to 20, as, boy, Merck really on the charge now. The 60 is up to second and looking for a little bit more right here. And Merck's going to go to the lead. You wonder if maybe the 60 was one of the trucks who took tires here. Merck going to slide up in front of Clampett, who's going to try the crossover on him. Nothing doing just yet. The 44 is going to have to settle behind your new leader, Jeff Merck. Goes to the point here at Michigan with 16 of 70 laps complete. And I was just getting ready to say there could be a few drivers here that did take tires, and if they did, I can tell you right now the difference is going to be noticeable. So you wonder if that was the case here for Jeff Merck, regardless of if it was or if it wasn't. The drivers that want the best shot at the end of this race are saving those tires because you really want to have a set for, I would say, probably the last 20 to 30 laps of this race. And knowing that you've only got 2, you got to be really careful about when you take this first set. And so a lot of drivers feeling like with only 11 laps in that first green flag run, that we just haven't really ran anywhere near long enough to try to take that first set yet. Here's Dawson Wise drafting up behind Seipel. It's a 2v2 tandem. Bagley and Haynes on the outside. Trying to get clear trouble. This could be big. One into the wall. Seipel's going to spin to the inside. Caution is back out. Westmoreland manages to avoid him. A really, really close call, but I think a big save right there, as that could have been really, really bad for Seipel, who got turned sideways almost directly in the middle of the field as they were barreling down towards turn 1. And we see our second caution of the night before we have reached lap 20. Let's go back and look at this one here. You kind of saw this develop down the front stretch, just a kind of a squeeze. I think these guys just ran each other out of real estate. Everybody did hold on. So again, no big deal here, but it was close to being one. Watch this. You see Haynes. So they go down the front stretch. Bagley's going to try to give him a push. And man, that's a little bit of both. In fact, I saw this in the, I think it was the R&R race just the other night, hosted by James Wagner. And it's a little bit of Dawson Wise just barely sneaking up, and the 87 of Bagley just sneaking down. They're both just running so tight that even that little bit of movement gets them together. And then the contact sends Bagley into Seipel. He goes back up the track and into the outside wall. Man, what a job Chris Melton and Ken McCullough Jr. did right there to dive to the inside and miss that one right as Seipel spun. And then Seipel, big save. Westmoreland also does a phenomenal job of missing him. I mean, this could have been so big in so many ways. I just cannot get over the fact that these guys all managed to make that less than it was. So you watch it here from TV2, and this is what it looks like full speed. Remember, you're going almost 190 plus at that point on the track. Great saves all around. Here's the onboard view again. Or excuse me, TV1 view. Back this up again. There's the contact, and you see it turns Bagley right down into the right rear. Sends them both up the track. Seipel's able to keep it off the outside wall. Bagley's not. The only concern I'd have for him right there is if he got some suspension damage. I don't think aero-wise it's too bad, but again, Seipel with a heck of a save. And we got to go on board here to Chris Melton and the job that not only him, but Ken McCullough Jr. also did. But I think Melton was maybe the sketchier choice in this because he was right at the front of it and missing the spinning 75. Watch this. And I mean, this is, talk about heads-up driving. He's drafting right behind these guys. He sees it happen, and watch how quick he has to dive to the left. Gets on the brakes, goes low, and man, just barely misses it. See if we can get one more view of this here from our pit lane cam. Again, these guys were down towards turn number 1, so this is actually our catch fence cam. So for Miles Bagley, he'll continue on. We'll see what kind of damage those two had. Their Seipel rolling out of pit seems to be okay. Meanwhile, back up front, Jeff Merck currently leading the way. You've got Logan Clampett in second, Dylan Basin in third, Malik Ray fourth, and DJ Thomas currently rounding out your top 5. And going back here to see if anybody decided to make a pit stop on this one, and if they did, what it was for, whether that being obviously just fuel or potentially something else. Let's go back here and see what this pit stop looked like. Who decided to come in, who didn't? Because I think we had a little bit more of a split on this one. Wait to go back green. It is a little bit of a split. Looks like your front 4 decide to stay out, and then quite a few of them, starting with Daniel Falkingham behind, decide to go in. Let's see what do they go with here. Do they take that first set of Goodyears here, or do they save them? Let's see what they decide to go with here. I'm thinking this is fuel only, but yep, that's what it's going to be. So the second stop of the night, still fuel only for most of your front runners, so nobody deciding to get too aggressive on the tire strategy just yet. Now, for the third time, as we keep trying to do it, talking about payouts. I know that was the other question that Christian asked earlier. I apologize for taking too long to mention it. Payouts tonight are actually based off of iRating, so there's 3 subcategories, and I'll show you the poster here actually while we have a chance, but it's 3 subcategories to decide what payout class you're in, which is cool in the sense of, you know, even if you don't win the race, you still have a chance at winning money. So if you're a 2,500 iRating or lower, you're competing to be the top 3, top 5 drivers, whatever admins decide it to be for that split. If you're 2,500 to 5,000 iRating, you're competing for prizes in that middle split. And if you're a 5,000 or higher iRating, then you're competing for the prizes in that top split. So money's going to go a lot of different ways here tonight. Again, a lot of chances these drivers to win some. So certainly looking forward to that. By the way, we do have a few driver cams that we'll get to here. We can get a few more green flag laps under our belt, but Jeff Merck getting ready here for the green flag, and he's been strong so far on that second run. We'll see if he can keep it up as the iRacing.com pace car makes the left turn for the 3rd time here tonight. Back into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag back in the air. It's 22 of 70 laps complete here at Michigan. Great restart for the front row. Merck and Clampett are about even as they draw off towards turn number 1. As everybody climbs the 18 degrees of banking, big sweeping corner. Cold tires, though, is always a little sketchy, even if you didn't pit for tires. But it looks like everybody's going to get through 1 and 2 just as cleanly this time as they have the previous couple of restarts. Falkingham quick to slot up into the outside line. Merck, boy, he lost quite a few positions there in the course of 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. And now he's a little bit of no man's land here as he's trying to get that momentum back, but stuck on the inside. You see John Ellis Jr. is going to jump up as well. Now he'll get back behind the 60 as they just get ready to slot in behind the 88 of Falkingham, who was able to pull clear with the momentum from the outside line. And I'll tell you what, I'm so excited to see. We always love special events here in PGR, but when you get a track like this, that is, again, kind of like a hybrid between a mile and a half and a Daytona. Whoa! Oh my goodness, Landon Velicky, are you kidding me? What a save. About a 62 down the back straightaway. That was huge. And just behind him, they're going to go full wide into turn 3. It's another big moment as now Asher Little's loose. He's got to try to save it. The 88 just behind him, trying to give him some room to work with. Melton. Boy, what a chaotic sequence of about a half a lap. We got to go back and look at this save, though, by Landon Velicky. This was incredible stuff here. Right as they got off of turn 2. Velicky here, does he get some contact? Does he just get loose? Oh, he just gets loose coming up off the corner. Man, big moment for the 62. Nicely done. And then as mentioned, just behind, look at these guys here. 4 wide. Nick Seipel's going to get the best of all of them. He dives it in on the apron, makes it stick. Gets that position back. Nicely done as we go back live and they try to sort it out a little bit there. Meanwhile, up front, Logan Clampett right back to the lead. 44 trying to pull away, but the draft still too strong. Malik Ray and Dylan Basin sorted out. They're trying to catch up as now you see the 33 of DJ Thomas. He has been extraordinarily fast here tonight. And that's good news for DJ Thomas. He's a 2,800 iRating, so he's in that middle split. And for him to have speed to be running with some of these, world-class drivers up here, he's in very good position early on. I know we got a long ways to go, but certainly a good start out of the gate. As we saw Seipel right there trying to make his way back to the front. And I think it might be a little too early for me to necessarily say the draft and the effect of it is falling off. I don't think it quite is yet. But it is starting to feel like we might be seeing just a little bit of separation as Seipel has a brief runner right there with the outside wall. Well, now that we have the chance here, go to some of our onboard views here tonight. Jeff Merck in the 60. First up on the list as he currently sits in 7th. What a night he's been having so far. He's been in the lead. He's been in the 10th positions. He's been up in the top 5 just about everywhere in the front half of the field. Now again finds himself up a spot from where he started this race at. And for Jeff Merck, just taking it easy right here in line. Again, more so focused on trying to catch the front runners at the moment, more so than racing the guys around you. And it's kind of the teamwork mentality that still goes into a track even like Michigan. And if we turn our attention a bit further back in the pack to Kyle Lawver, he's another driver carrying an onboard view for us here tonight. The driver out of Palm Bay, Florida, which is actually the exact spot that I live in. So Kyle may be right down the road here. Good to see him out on the track here tonight in that Law Dog Racing paint scheme. He's got the Flex Tape sponsor on there as well. So as the 91 tries to make something happen here. Dawson Wise sitting just behind him. But again, those are our 2 driver cams here on the nights. Back up front, Nick Seipel, the driver out of Goobertown, Arkansas. He is going to get clear of the lead, and almost wonder if that's maybe fresh tires or if Clampett's fading. Either way, that 44 truck now under fire from the 1 of Malik Ray and the 11 of Dylan Basins. Thinking 3. Ooh, man. Clampett had to slam the door on him right there. That was another really, really big moment, but you can see Basins not giving up. He's got the momentum on the outside and tried to cross Clampett over, but the back end got a little bit loose and he scrubbed off some of the momentum. But he still got there anyway. So Basin really wants this spot from the 44. I think he feels like either he's faster than one or both of them here. He'll actually draw side by side with Malik Ray sliding up. Got to be careful. The more you do that, the more you heat up those Goodyear tires. As we again bring up the dashboard speed and the weather conditions here in the sim. And big thing to notice there is bottom of your screen, or excuse me, bottom of that tower there on the right is the track temp. 130 degrees. That's really, really hot. And so again, when track temp starts to get that hot, you can wear out tires a lot quicker by just making a couple of errors and a few slides here and there. But we talked about the speeds earlier in the broadcast that they run here in Michigan. And this is getting to a point where tires are already, slightly worn out. And even with that, as by the way, just a little notice there, track temp just went up to now 131 degrees. So getting even hotter there. But I'll bring the dashboard speed up one more time for you here. And look at some of the speeds these guys get up to. When you're pulling a draft, Malik Ray here, close to 190 miles an hour as they get down into the corner. So still pretty close to the speeds that we see at a Daytona or a Talladega. And by the way, if you haven't figured it out yet, for Seipel here, got to think this is a massive, massive tire advantage. I mean, he has gotten up here and just started gapping these guys even over the course of the last 3 laps. He's taken that gap from a couple tenths of a second to well over 2 seconds between the first and second place trucks. And the other thing I want to show you here is, trouble, Kyle Lawver. What has happened? Lawver, massive hit on the inside wall. Oh no. You see the reaction there on the driver cam. He cannot believe it. His race is done. Big damage. Look at the front of that thing. Destroyed. Lawver, a driver we just talked about. So much hope here for the night. Had a good start going. But with no fast repair, he's done. Again, this doesn't bring out the caution. And getting reports that Joshua McCullough may have been involved in this some way as well. Let's go back and look and see what happens first. You see Kyle coming up off the corner. Ooh, he might have got a little bit of contact there from Bagley. Gets into the outside walls, trying to get it off the wall. And right as he does that, Joshua McCullough is coming up with the run. The 91's going to get turned. And yikes, those 2 trucks are headed in the wrong direction in a hurry. You can see that the 91 right here, that truck doesn't do what Joshua McCullough's does where it spins all the way out. Instead, it just kind of forward drives all the way down to that inside wall. And that's a big, big hit to the front nose for Kyle Lawver. Oh, my goodness. Joshua McCullough here, I'm going to think, takes some sort of big hit somewhere. But before we look at him, let's watch this again here from the cockpit view. Again, this will be for Kyle Lawver. He's coming up off the corner. Bagley. That might have even been a netcode contact. I'll tell you what, that was close. Watch this again here from the chopper view. Bagley definitely washing up here. I got to assume he's getting a little tight. But yeah, never actually touches him. So that's a netcode contact there between Lawver and Bagley. And watch, you can hear Kyle reacts pretty quick. Right there, there's the lift out of the throttle as soon as it happens, but as he tries to save it, Joshua McCullough was coming with a run, and what he's trying to do there by staying in the throttle is see if he can whip it back to the right and either spin it out or get it going back in the right direction. Unfortunately, in this case, he's not able to do that, and there's Joshua McCullough spinning it out. I think overall he may have been okay. The big hit was more so for Lawver. I'm surprised this didn't bring out the caution as we show you one more view. See Joshua McCullough, that truck actually starts to lift up off the ground. Eventually does set back down. Boy, what a interesting look this was here. Watch this one more time for Joshua McCullough here. Almost looks like he's floating for a minute with all four tires. Trying to come up off the ground. One more view of this here from TV2 for Kyle Lawver before we go back live. There's the contact. And there's the ultimate contact that's going to cause an end of the night here from the 91. Tough break for Kyle. All right, as we go back live at the front of the field, it's still Nick Seipel leading the way. The difference in lap times should tell you just about everything you need to know. Seipel, just over the course of the last 5 laps, look at the difference in lap times. 6 tenths, 4 tenths, 3 tenths, 2 tenths, less than a tenth that last lap. But the overall trend is he's running much faster than anybody else. He's got almost a 4-second lead. So with that being the case here, it's going to be hard to track this guy down without a caution. Now the trade-off here for Seipel, and this can go quite a few ways, so let me be clear on that. As, oh man, Seipel looks like now he's getting loose. This is where you got to be careful. He's got a big deficit to play with here, but if you lose that, it kind of throws the strategy that I would assume he's on here away, which is he's got 1 set less tires than most of the field right now because he took a set of tires. That's why he's got this advantage. Now, if this goes green, let's see, 80% fuel, these guys, it should be a 1 stop from here. So let's just say he can make this even 4 laps from now, lap 40, and decides to pit. Whatever anybody else does, he should, in theory, have enough of an advantage with tires to be in contention for the race win. But if we get a caution, that is pretty much going to just about kill the strategy for Seipel here because he's not going to be able to take that next set of tires, but everybody else is going to be on their first set and will take them. And again, obviously, that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. Meanwhile, that battle for second continues to be the most fun one to watch as... Oh, man, I was looking back. Thought we saw some data that we had another truck spin, but it was just a brief blink out. But I was getting ready to say, I mean, this is the most fun battle on the track to watch right now. These 3 guys are in between working together and battling with each other on trying to catch the 75. And just behind them, how about the 23 of Chris Walker, Big Roost, trying to make something happen right now as he's up 21 positions from where he started this race at. Daniel Falkingham behind him in the 88 Mountain Dew truck. A little bit of a struggle for Falkingham, I guess. Well, not really, I guess, considering the strategy where he decided to take fuel on this last run, but I definitely am expecting to see him at the front by the end of this one. Jared Haynes alongside DJ Thomas. Then you've got John Ellis Jr. drafting with that group. Jeff Merck, Kenny Reel working together. And then it's Brandon Broadfoot all by himself in 12th. And then Ken McCullough Jr., Landon Velicki, Trevor Osanoff, and a whole bunch of other ones here currently riding around. Back in the 23rd spot, our fellow broadcaster Dawson Wise currently has himself a pretty good run going so far, and actually told me pre-race that he said he would be the race reporter here even though he was still driving tonight. And so with that in mind, we're going to bring Dawson up here and see how he's feeling, as it seems like things are pretty calm at the moment. If we can get Dawson up here. All right. Hey, Dawson, this is Austin in the booth. Get a copy.
Yeah, Austin, I got you.
Well, man, things seem to be pretty calm right now, so I figured it was as good of a time as any to first off ask how you feel your race is going. We saw during that last caution, you had a big, scary moment in front of you, but you were able to avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's obviously not going the way I wanted it to. I mean, if you want to put it that way, I'm in the back. I got a penalty earlier. You know, it is what it is. I haven't seen the replay, but I was in a pretty good spot to run top 15, top 12, and got the penalty and stayed out on old tires, thinking I could just, you know, ride around and get to the pit stop and we get another caution, and it has not happened, and I'm struggling pretty mightily back here, but get to the green flag pit stop and we'll see what happens. I got a little strategy call up my sleeve coming up here for the pit stop, and we'll see how it goes. But it's been fun, I'll say that. No matter where I'm running, it's been fun. I hope the racing up front is good too.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And, you know, we won't give away your pit strategy right now because I know that obviously we're broadcasting and there may be some other racers listening, but I am curious because you said you stayed out on old tires. So I would assume that means you're going with the save a set for the end if we get a late caution.
Oh, yeah. I mean, fully the plan is take one on the green flag pit stop. And, I mean, I'm running 23rd, Austin. I'm not going to win the race. I don't really mind if anybody gets my strategy. I'm going to short pit. I'm going to come get a set of tires early, try to jump some track position. And, yeah, save a set for the end. If we get a late caution, I can have a tire advantage on the rest of the field. I mean, Nick earlier was, you know, 30th back with us and drove all the way to the front on new tires. So it clearly means something. I'm going to save a set in case we get one of those patented late cautions, and we'll see how it pans out.
Certainly will. And last question we got for you here, Dawson, before we let you go again is track temp tonight, 131 degrees. I know you love this track. I know you run here a lot. Is there a big difference that you notice at this track and this truck when it gets that hot on the racetrack?
100%. It's actually one of those moments you're kind of glad we're not running the Xfinity car. I feel like we'd all be on ice skates, and we still are for a lot of us, but you can definitely tell. You can tell in qualifying in practice that it was different, and yeah, especially on old tires, we're skating on the rear tires, so we've all kind of been moving around trying to see, you know, where we can run that is the least, you know, of that. And it seems like the lower down you go, the more trouble people have. And, you know, early in the run, we saw that too. Like Malik was loose trying to run the bottom on the first lap. So as the run's gone, we've all kind of moved up. Everybody's running a different place. I love the top on old tires. I've always run up here. And so far, it's been pretty decent. And a lot of people, I think, have started running up towards the fence. So running that, going to continue doing it, and we'll see how things go. But we're approaching green flag pit stops, so I'll let you get back to it, and I gotta focus on my own strategy as well.
Absolutely. Dawson Wise, fellow broadcaster and driver out on the track tonight. Dawson, we appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah, appreciate it, Austin.
All right, there you go. He's getting ready for his pit stop, and I really do appreciate Dawson giving us the time to do that, because I'm telling you, driving is already hard enough. Trying to drive and talk is a whole nother ballgame. But tell you what, you look at that scoring tower on your left, and you'll notice the gap for Seipel, it's starting to decrease here a little bit, down by about a second from what it was last time that I actually mentioned it. And now for Clampett, still right in the tire tracks of both Basin and Malik Ray. So those three trucks still kind of prevailing as, I would argue, the favorites right now, at least on the main strategy. But a caution at any point is going to throw things for a loop. A caution late would throw things for a loop. Green flag pit stops, though, are going to be the most interesting because they're coming up here really, really soon. In fact, we've already seen pit stops from a few drivers. DJ Thomas now actually in the pits. So he's taken his first set of tires for the night. The two McCullough Motorsports drivers of Christopher McCullough and Ken McCullough Jr. making their pit stops right here as they'll drag race to see who's going to win the race out of the pits. And so this is, again, kind of sparking the sequence. You're going to see more and more. Ideally, I think the later you pit, the better. As Sizemore, we saw him come into the pits, but looks like he's staying in there right now. But I was getting ready to say, the later you pit, the better, in the sense of you get to play more offense. You don't have to worry about saving as much tire because you're running less laps on them. But when you pit early, you try to make up some track position. As, boy, this was a big pit stop. We saw a ton of drivers come in here. We're going to go to the pit lane cam for this one because there's too many to necessarily go one by one, but it's Malik Ray, Logan Clampett, Dylan Basin, Kenny Reel, Dawson Wise, Chris Melton, and Dylan Grace, all that made pit stops that lap. Seipel's still out on the racetrack. I think he's going to try to run those tires a little bit longer than everybody else, which is not a bad idea at all. Just got to be careful. You don't want to lose, again, that advantage that you got yourself. As we see now just 25 laps remaining here at Michigan. Things going quickly, but as the pit stops start to cycle out, We're going to start to get a clear picture here of who the front runners are going to be at the end. Is boy, there goes Clampett and Joshua McCullough, both on fresher tires, making it look easy. As whoa, big moment right there. Seipel slid up in front of McCullough. That caught him in a weird spot. Actually, McCullough might not be on newer tires necessarily, but that was a really, really sketchy moment right there. As, by the way, if you're just tuning in or if you've been watching tonight, we appreciate you hanging with us here on PGR eSports. RF5935. Good to see you. Katrina, Freshness, Christian, good to see you guys in here tonight. Lisa W., Heath Job, D. McFarland, hope you guys are having a great night. Brian Hennings, good to see you. Hunter Allen, good to see you in here. Hope everybody is having a good Thursday night. As the 23 of Chris Walker still in second. He's had a great run and honestly a great move through the field. He's up 24 spots from where he started this race at. As we now see your race leader, Nick Seipel. He'll bring it down to the pits here for full service. And this is going to make or break the race for Seipel right here. Depending on where he comes out is going to just completely either change the dynamic of this race or give us a clear answer pretty quickly. Malik Ray rocketing down the backstretch. That'll be the first man that can pass the 75 of Seipel, who is now in his box. And we'll try to keep an eye here the best I can. The best way I can tell you to watch this is looking for Malik Ray here. He is in the 15th spot, and the 15th dot is getting ready to roll by. Yeah, these guys are going to jump Seipel here by a pretty significant margin. I don't know if Seipel got quite all he could on that pit stop. This is going to get interesting. Seipel's going to have slightly fresher tires by maybe 3 to 5 laps. That's actually more than just a slight tire difference, but will he be able to track these guys down is a big question. You see as he's still getting up to speed about halfway down the back. They're already into turn number 3. So he's definitely got some ground to make up, but he also has some time to do it, as we still have over 20 laps to go in this race. Chris Walker, Daniel Falkingham, John Ellis Jr., Jared Haynes, Landon Velicki, Trevor Osranoff, Tyler Vickery, Brandon Broadfoot, Asher Little, Axel Smith, Miles Bagley, Mark Londell. 12 drivers. Your front 12 trucks at the moment all still yet to make their final green flag pit stop. I got to think they'd be making that here in the next handful of laps. Is Velicki actually going to make his stop right as we just called his name a minute ago? So for Velicki here, you would assume the call would be getting 4 tires and fuel as everybody else has done. And so once Velicki cycles out, we'll have to see where that puts him. But in the meantime, as we are approaching 20 laps to go, we are going to take our only commercial break tonight. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. And when we come back, the battle for the lead going to be heating up. Stick with us here at Michigan.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost no trouble around those Alex Hill, on into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Michigan International Speedway, where we are closing in on the end of the final special event for PGR here in quarter number 2. 17 laps to go, and the battle for the lead is now setting up. Here's what it looks like. Malik Ray currently leading the way, but Dylan Basin has been right in the tire tracks since they came out of the pits. Logan Clampett still in a relatively close third as he sits at the moment, about a second and a half behind these two, so he's right on the fence of drafting range. Certainly could use a little bit of help from this guy, potentially. Nick Seipel, who has slowly been closing the gap on the front runners, as right now he's about 1.6 seconds behind Clampett and just over 3 seconds behind your two leaders. So if he can get to Clampett, it'll be interesting if he tries to work together to catch those front two, or if he tries to duke it out amongst himself and see if he can get it done that way. Either way, going to be fun to watch. DJ Thomas back in 5th, still a phenomenal run going, as he is punching way above his weight in regards to I-rating, only 2,800. But up here running with the big dogs like it is nothing. Kenny Reel currently sitting in 6th, up 9 spots from where he started this race at. John Ellis Jr. 7th, Chris Walker 8th, Daniel Falkingham in 9th, and Ken McCullough Jr. off a little bit of pit strategy has now got himself back up inside the top 10 and up 21 positions from where he started this race at. Christopher McCullough currently up 18 from where he started, and he is in 11th. Melton in 12th. Veliky in 13th. Chase Mistretta in 14th. Dawson Wise, Jared Haynes fighting for that final 15th place position. I say final, I don't know why. I'm used to talking about money spots that go maybe 1 through 10 or 1 through 15, but again, it's set up in splits here tonight. But even regardless of that, everybody still wants to get the win. And remember, if we get any caution from this point to the finish, you talk about one crazy restart after another, that's what we're going to get. But I just start to, kind of wonder if things are maybe a little bit too spread out for us to see that. There are a few groups, a few packs left, if you will, but I just don't know if it's quite going to be enough here. The amount of laps that we have left for us to potentially see a caution, as Mike Davenport, one of the PGR admins, says, sitting next to a campfire in the mountains watching PGR. That sounds like a pretty good way to relax on a Thursday night. Mike, good to see you. Hope that you're having a good time. And you can see Basin here. He's starting to move around a little bit. I think he feels like we're at this point where it's going to be really tough to make the pass, so he knows he needs to start looking now. That's exactly what he's doing. By the way, for what it's worth, him and Malik very close on I-rating. Malik is a Coke Series driver. Dylan Basin is not. But they're very close on I-rating. 6,800 versus 6,700. Both right now giving it all they've got. You can see they are not. It's so funny because you think about anything oval racing and you just think you turn the wheel left. But boy, at this point in the run, through the corner, it feels like they're doing quite a bit of turning to the right as well, just to keep these trucks from spinning out with how loose they are at this point. You can see for Basin, right as he gets to the middle of the corner on exit, look how much wheel input he's got to put back to the right as that truck wants to slide out from under him. Oh, they both get into the wall, but Basin's got to run here. Is he going to take it? No, instead he'll stick with Malik Ray for the moment. Basin feeling confident that right now he needs to just simply push. Oh, and I bet I know why he's doing that, because of this guy right here. Look at Nick Seipel. Slowly but surely closing in on these guys, and we said that if things stayed green for Seipel, the strategy would work out. And that's exactly what it's doing so far. He's closed into under a second and a half. So he should be starting to sniff a draft here. Clampett has fallen outside of drafting range. And for DJ Thomas, Daniel Falkingham, John Ellis, and Chris Walker all chasing at the moment after those top three. Just 12 laps to go. In fact, you saw Veliky right here setting up a pass on Christopher McCullough. It looks like he should be able to make that move work. He's going to try to dive to the inside and slide up clear, as there is Chase Mistretta. And how about Tyler Vickery tonight? 124, trying to make a move here on the 89 of Trevor Ozernoff for 16th position. And Vickery may very well be in contention here for a payout position. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he may be in a pretty good spot here to be fighting for a payout position for his split with where he currently sits at the moment. And he is up 13 positions from where he started this race at in the Full Sail University Chevy Silverado. And Trevor Ozernoff here, you wonder what happened. The 89 started off so strong here tonight in the early going. Not only him, but the entirety of the Jack Shack had great speed. But it seems like the 89's maybe fallen off a little bit here towards the end of this race. They're trying to hold out for whatever he's got left. And ladies and gentlemen, Nick Seipel, he's coming, and he's going to be there pretty quickly too. The rate he's closing, in fact, let me show you what the time delta looks like here from Dylan Basin to Nick Seipel, because that's really the gap. And notice how you kind of get that negative slope right there where it's just closing in at a pretty consistent pace each and every lap. Maybe slowing down just a little bit, but 5 laps ago it was 2.5 seconds. Now it's down to 1 second, under a second as they cross the line. You get the idea here. He's closing up quickly, and the closer he gets, the more draft he starts to pull. Now, obviously, at the same time, he starts to get in more dirty air as they get into the corners, which could hurt him. So the question is, will the tires have enough life here to hold out for Seipel long enough to catch these guys? If they do, he could be potentially in the catbird seat here to try to get around both of them, but it's going to be tough. Those two know that they've got older tires than Seipel, so they're probably going to work together to try to keep that advantage even. And obviously race it out at the end. They're coming up on 2 lappers here. This will be interesting. I'm trying to figure out exactly who this was here. As go all the way to the back here and see if we can figure out who that was. I'm going to be able to get my lap cars pretty easily, but is that Michael Wingo maybe? Yep, 26. Michael Wingo. Normally I know everybody's paint schemes by memory, but Wingo in a bit of a different color scheme here tonight. And not necessarily helping those leaders when he runs the same line in the corner, but Wingo going to be very sportsmanlike here and just get out of the way. Obviously he has the right to fight to not go another lap down, but he knows that with 8 laps to go, the battle for lead's intense. And oh, as I say that, oh man, Wingo washes up big time in the corner. And that was right as Malik got there. This is going to put him in an awkward spot. Basin uses him as a pick. Malik, though, was able to dive a little bit lower. They're going to side draft down the front stretch. This is exactly what Nick Seipel wants to see. Oh man, Seipel is going to get a massive run if they keep this up for too long. Basin, though, knowing this is his opportunity to strike clean air at this point in the run is so important to trying to hold on to the lead. And Basin's going to get clear. He will take the lead, but Seipel has closed now to within half a second, almost to the rear bumper of Malik Ray. It'll be 6 laps, 12 miles remaining when they cross the line this time, and we're going to keep the cameras at the front because this is going to determine who will win the race here tonight at Michigan. And Seipel just continuing to follow that draft down the front stretch. He needs to get a big pull here. He needs to get it soon because, remember, he's got to get around both of them, and that's going to be a tough task. Now, I don't think Malik's out of this. This is the one question I had here when the one truck lost the lead was he still going to have enough speed to stick with the 11, or was he going to all of a sudden kind of fade? I've seen it happen both ways, but Malik, I don't know if he saved a little bit while he was out front or if he's just fighting for all he's got left, but he's hanging strong here. And in fact, he's going to probably try to make another move on the 11 at Basin. It's just a matter of when. Here he goes. Malik Ray going to take a dive to the inside through 3 and 4. Basin will go with the momentum line. And Malik's going to have to get up and try to side draft up off the corner here, or will he try to go to the apron? He'll try to go to the apron. That's going to force Basin to maybe have to side draft. Basin doesn't do it. They stay very spaced out. They won't stall each other out any more than needed, but they do stay side by side as they get down into turn 1. Just 5 laps to go here at Michigan. Seipel still trying to close. He's got it to about 0.3 of a second. Clamp it in 2.8 seconds back. He will not close. These 3 are the only ones that are in contention for the race win here tonight. And I was wondering what kind of racing we'd see at Michigan. I felt like it was going to be good. But boy, this is even better than what I thought we'd see. How about Malik Ray, though, with the power move, finding a way to get back clear the 11 of Basin, and now forcing the hand of Dylan Basin to have to try again. And with these two being the same I rating, they are fighting for the first position in their split. And you wonder, to what lengths does Dylan Basin go? This is not realistically a bump and run track. And we've seen you can make passing work on the inside and the outside. But if you're Basin, what do? Do you try to give him a shot? Do you try to put a bunch of air on the rear of the truck, get him loose? Do you try to get to his inside and push him up? Or do you try to pass him clean? This is the questions that have got to be going through the mind of Dylan Basin right here. And I'll tell you what, for Seipel, as each lap ticks off, he's there, but at the same time, I think that he used just about all the life out of those tires to get there. And now I think any advantage has evened out with Basin and Malik Ray. And I think at this point, if you're Nick Seipel, you're going to have to just get as close as you can and hope that one of them maybe forces the other into a mistake. They both slip up, and then if that's the case, then he could certainly go right around. Right now, Malik Ray continues to lead here. They'll be coming to just 2 laps to go. That means that we have one more lap to get a caution. If not, this race will be official. The field roars off of turn number 4. There goes Malik, Basin, and Seipel. Malik still out in front here. 2 laps remaining. Final lap for a caution if we're going to get one. Basin had a massive draft up to the back bumper, but he didn't take it that time. Makes you wonder if Basin's going to try to set up one more big move on the last lap, or if he's thinking about trying to do something else before then. And Seipel kind of stuck now at that about half a second mark. Just doesn't seem like he can really get any closer for now. As they work through 3 and 4, everybody spaced out and keeping it clean for the moment. This race is going to be official. We're going to see a 2-truck battle one more time as the white flag is in the air. 1 lap to go at Michigan. Basin with another big draft. Will he make the move this time? Nothing yet. The 11 truck continues to stay tucked in line. He's going to try the outside to see if he can get a little bit of momentum here off of turn 2. He's looking for the right rear, but he's not going to be able to get it. Malik Ray still out in front. Basin, where does he go? Malik going to block to the inside. Basin going to look to the outside. They'll work into turn 3. Final time. Malik's trying to squeeze him. Here we go. Final gas. Who's going to get the momentum off of turn 4? Basin on the outside. Malik Ray on the inside. Malik's going to slide up. Will Basin be able to cross him over? He does. The 11 goes to the inside. They're going to drag race back to the finish, but it's going to be Malik Ray winning it at Michigan. The 1 truck's able to hold off Dylan Basin. Basin tried to cross him over. They kept it clean. And what a finish. Michigan did not disappoint. Coke Series driver Malik Ray shows you right there exactly how he earns his pay, getting wins. What a job. So Malik Ray takes the win. Basin in second. And Nick Seipel finishing in that 3rd spot. Tell you what, we saw quite a few different strategies, but how'd you like that? A race at a non-super speedway with a ton of green flag action. Only 2 cautions, and they were in the relatively early going as Malik Ray is going to bring it around and burn it down. So he is your winner here tonight. So while Malik does burn it down, we'll get an official look at your results and then grab your top 3 for interviews. As again, Malik Ray is your race winner here tonight at Michigan. Dylan Basin takes home 2nd. Nick Seipel in 3rd. Logan Clampett finishes in 4th. Daniel Falkingham 5th. Chris Walker 6th with John Ellis Jr. in 7th. DJ Thomas 8th. Kenny Real in 9th. And Landon Velicky rounding out your top 10. Trevor Osmoth, good comeback there late. Is able to go from 16th back to 11th. Tyler Vickery in 12th. Chase Mistretta finishes in 13th. Jared Haynes 14th. And it's Christopher McCullough taking home 15th. Ken McCullough Jr. 16th. Chris Melton in 17th with Asher Little finishing in the 18th spot here tonight. In 19th, it's Axel Smith and Jeff Merck. Rounds out your top 20. Dawson Wise finishes 21st. Brendan Broadfoot 22nd. Dylan Grace 23rd with Nash Brambilla 24th. James Wagner 25th. Then it's Quentin Steinbach 26th. Michael Wingo 27th. Miles Bagley finishes 28th. It'll be Brock Westermerlin in 29th. And Mark Vondell rounding out your top 30. Joshua McCullough finishes in 31st. Steve Sizemore 32nd. Kyle Lawver in 33rd with Michael Triscaro in 34th. And Triscaro actually was not in the race, so I apologize for that. John Ward would have been credited with that 34th place finish as he had some sort of issue right at the start here tonight and was not able to race. All right, we are going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Michigan. All right, welcome back to Michigan International Speedway. So here's the deal tonight. I mentioned top 3. What I should have said is we're going to do basically the top 3 regarding the top 3 finishers, not of each split, but overall. So let me break that down. We're just going to do the winner of each split because, again, you had a top split, a middle split, and a bottom split. And so where better to start than the winner of the top split and the winner of the race, and that is Malik Ray and the one truck. Malik, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. Well, you take home the win here tonight, both of the top split and of the race. But, man, what a battle between you and Basin there at the end. You guys kept swapping back and forth. Ultimately, you come out there at the end. What was going through your head as you worked through 3 and 4? Did you think that he was going to get some momentum and you guys were going to drag race back to the line?
I saw that he had to check up, and in the middle of 3 and 4, I think he was trying to cross me over, and he just didn't have enough tires left at that point. But I want to shout him out because he did give me back the lead after I lost it from the lap car. I don't know who it was, but I mean, like once I got back under Dylan, I mean, he just gave it back to me. Now we did race for it on the white flag, but he gave me back the lead. So I just wanted to just say that I appreciate him for that.
Absolutely. A lot of sportsmanship and great racing between you two, especially there at the end. But, you know, it's a non-super speedway here tonight, but kind of felt like one in some ways. I think a lot of people are curious, what did it feel like with the track temp this hot? And how do you kind of compare it to what we normally run at a Talladega or a Daytona?
I love it. I love it because like it narrows it down between like, you know, like a handful of guys, and that way you're not having to race the whole field. So I enjoy it a lot. I hope we do like some more of these in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, Malik, I won't hold you for too long. I want you to go enjoy your winnings. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
It'll be James Wagner at Wagner's Welding and Dylan Basin for working with me after we came out of pit stops. I appreciate both of them. And you guys for broadcasting, and Triscaro and Baker for putting on the event. So thank you guys.
And Malik, we appreciate you talking to us. Congrats on the race win, the split win, and go enjoy it.
All right. Thank you, man.
All right. Now that's going to bring us up to your second split winner, the man who finishes third, but again, wins his split tonight. And that is Nick Seipel. Nick, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, arguably, man, you had the boldest strategy call in the field here tonight, and it pays off in a big way. So the first question I got to ask is, what was the decision to make you go in and take tires that early? Did you know it was going to work out this way?
No, I honestly figured it wouldn't, but I had already had some bad luck and mistake go my way, or not go my way, rather. And I kind of randomly thought back to the Vegas event we did in the trucks and how a couple people took tires at a weird time and it ended up going green. And I don't know, I just decided to. And can't thank enough everyone in the race for not wrecking it.
Yeah, absolutely. That green flag run certainly helped you out quite a bit there. But, you know, man, you were so close there at the end. It seemed like you kept chopping big chunks out of the gap to the leaders, and then all of a sudden it stalled out. Did you just run out of tire there at the end?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are that good at the game for a reason. If that was Clampett or Falk or any of those higher up guys on that strategy, I'm sure they would have gotten there and probably passed them. I'm not that good, so the strategy really paid off.
Well, strategy might have paid off, but you sure look pretty good and pretty fast here tonight overall. So, and Nick, before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. PGR put on the race, obviously. Again, thank everyone for not wrecking in that last half. But yeah, thank you.
And Nick, we appreciate you talking to us, so thank you as well. And hey, we'll see you hopefully again next week and see if you can maybe grab a win. Nick Seipel, great speed tonight. And now that takes us to your bottom split winner, and that is none other than Tyler Vickery. Let's get him up here and see how he's feeling. Hey, Tyler, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, man, a lot of great runs and a lot of bad luck seems to be kind of your story when it comes to money racing at super speedways. But here tonight, we go to Michigan, and guess what? You get your split win. You come out and show these guys that you know how to run. And when things are able to go your way on the luck side of it, you come out with a split win. So first off, let's start with, how'd you feel here tonight? You started a little bit further towards the back, but you had to make your way to the front.
I figured, I was kind of thinking if we get normally with all of the different skill level of drivers, myself included, I figured there's probably might be some crashes at the start. So I figured just understand what the truck's doing. Like normally for me, when I try to run fixed setups, I burn up the right front a lot. So I figured I'm like, if I can just chill, run the race I normally run, which I love long run strategies. I may not be like the fastest on pace, but when it comes to just being able to save tires and knowing when to push and when not to push, I feel like that's really helpful. And the fuel run works so well. And for me as well, I could probably go a lot longer than a lot of other people, which shocks me. But yeah, I love these kind of tracks, especially when it requires tire management as well as fuel runs. And I got to give a shout out again to Trev, because when we went on that long green flag run, I had enough for one more lap to be way out in front. But then I kind of thought about it. I'm like, you know what? If I can just push Trev and I having clean tires, we're going to probably be able to get through a lot of people. And oh man, if it wasn't chilling with Trev and just being right behind him, pushing him, trying to help him get cash as well, I don't know if I would have caught up to Chase and Christopher and Kenny and all of them.
Well, it certainly worked out nonetheless. But, you know, hey, Tyler, it may not have been a race win, but it's a great finish in 12th, and it's a split win. So I got to feel like it's some momentum. How do you feel like this helps you going forward into the next few weeks?
Just take it little by little. Because that's the one thing when we run these kind of stuff, I like to try to, I'm always a strategist. I always like to try to figure out what's going to work and try to make a game plan of certain scenarios. And this was one where at first I was hesitant on whether or not I should have taken tires when Sipple did. But at the same time, just knowing how and where I needed to drive the truck, I felt like that was what I was able to take advantage and be able to have the long run compared to other drivers.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Tyler, before we let you head out tonight to go enjoy the winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I know my mom's watching the chat, so she's picking fun with me already about it. So yeah, my mom always picking fun with me and supporting me with doing all of this stuff. Dustin Higdon Racing, he's given me some great opportunities. We're working on trying to get the car fully ready soon. We've been taking it easy. I might try to run a few bigger races here and there with the Bomber A's for this year at New Smyrna. Definitely got to give a shout out to him. One of my coworkers, I'm hoping he's watching it too, Chris Cutting. Yeah, we always help each other out, and then he's always giving me rides lately when coming from home. So definitely a shout out to him and Full Sail for all the fun opportunities I've had with going to North Wilkesboro and working with Christopher Hatton, the Generac team, and Dan Patrick School Sportscasting program that's part of Full Sail. I can't thank them enough.
Tyler, thank you for talking to us. Congrats again on the split win and the good overall finish, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight. Special event in the final one of the quarter for PGR, but boy, it did not disappoint. Great racing, clean racing, strategy play, and a good finish at the end, which Malik Ray was able to come out as your race champion and top split champion here tonight at Michigan. Well, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in. It means a lot to both myself and everybody here at PGR eSports. We certainly hope that you enjoyed. We'll be back next week with more of the Intimidator Superspeedway Series. Until then, have a good night.